Hey, what's up everybody? HTG Brian back with more LEGO Star Wars TSS. This is level 43, C-3P-Oh, no free play. We're going to get all 6 of those Kyber bricks, including the True Jedi status, which is a little bit of a grinder at 90k, even with the 2x stud multiplier on. We also get those 5 mini kits and those 3 challenges. Real quick, let's go ahead and remind you we have quick links down below in the video description. But most importantly, this challenge called Be Rey-ly Quiet requires us to complete the level without being detected. So there's basically a series of baddies, and we need to make sure that they don't see us. It's really easy. If you follow along, we'll show you where it is. The other challenge, called New Orders, requires us to peacefully clear out the main courtyard of stormtroopers without raising the alarm. So very similar in the sense that we can't be spotted. We got to do it stealth. We got to attack and do those sneak attacks, right? So we'll show you the preferred route, at least how we did it, and a couple of tips and tricks along the way. So as long as you're prepared and ready for those 2 challenges of being stealth, let's go ahead and jump right in and begin to collect some studdage. As I mentioned earlier, that 90k is a little bit of a grinder, even with the 2x stud multiplier on. So we're going to try to take out as many things along the way just to kind of ease the process at the end. We do find a bunch of studs in the final area, but in the event that you don't have enough, you'd have to backtrack. And I'm not even sure 100% that you can once you land in that final area. So anyways, we've got a giant search and destroy bot up above us here. And eventually he's going to take off, and we're going to use the net launcher on those posts on the wall there. And of course, climb up and partake in some shenanigans with a gonk droid to get Minikit number 1. So go ahead and stay out of the light. That's super important. If you get caught, you need to start over, as it will fail the Be Rey-ly Quiet challenge for completing the level without being detected. Now, here you go. We can actually cheat a little time here by hopping up on the right side, just out of sight from that scanner. And then, of course, we're going to climb up top. Now, the game itself gave me Anakin Charred Edition, and I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to Vader. This is going to come in handy later because, well, when we're trying to not be spotted in the final area, the main courtyard for the New Orders challenge, Vader doesn't get recognized as a bad guy. So, plus it helps us right here as we can yeet a saber at him and stop this gonk from escaping, and of course collect that first mini kit. But again, if you didn't catch on to what was happening there, I literally lifted that gonk up into the window, and then the animation kicked in. He tried to escape. I took him down and collected that first mini kit. Now we're going to drop back down below and follow the story a little bit more. And of course, we're going to need this fuse. We're going to move it up top and place it in the socket. And in fact, if you use the Force, I think it speeds things up a little bit rather than picking it up and walking it, because you sort of walk slower when you have an item in your hand. So once that door is open, go ahead and make your way through. We're going to begin the first sneak attack. Again, if you botch this and they see you, you're going to have to start the level over. Otherwise, the Be Rey-ly Quiet challenge will not complete. Now, this is a little bit suspect here, too, because you got to shoot out one of these guys up high, and it seems like they might see you. My best advice is to use a blaster, because this way you know you'll hit your target, and it should take him down with 1 pew-pew. And, of course, if you get spotted, you're going to have to start over again. I'm going to keep saying that to remind you guys, just so there's no confusion. Now, up at the top of the stairs, we've got a puzzle that requires us to use the Force and lift some boxes to get up top to a fuse panel. But we're not going to do that. We're actually going to use these boxes to build up a nice little escape route behind us, which will allow us to jump up to this zip line, which takes us over to this rooftop where Minikit 2 is just chilling, waiting for us. Now, across the way, there was a purple stud up top. Hopefully, you saw me snag that up. Hopefully you grabbed it as well, because that'll come in handy later. Now, the fuse over on the wall there was actually hiding behind some boxes. You might need to smash them to reveal it. Again, use the Force. It should save you some time from picking it up and walking it up there, and then, of course, having to build those boxes and everything, too. And I'm not sure why it does this. It spawns me in a funny angle. Both of my runs that I did this on, it did that. It was kind of wonky. Now, it might seem like you got busted here. As you come around the corner, some of the locals see you, and they want to fight you. And this is okay. This does not spoil any of our plans. However, as soon as these guys are taken care of, there is a group of baddies that comes from the top door right up ahead of us there. And we get prompted to go ahead and hide in these barrels over on the right side. Post says, the First Order's coming. In fact, I think it's happening right now. We're going to hop in these barrels on the right, and as soon as we get control of them, in fact, we can do it a little earlier than you might expect. Look, I'm out of there. You can control them now. Get them out of the pathway of those troopers, because if you get spotted, that's going to ruin the challenge. Now, make your way up the stairway on the far right side, and you might notice a Minikit hiding in the window. You could use Boba or Jango Fett to get your glide on if you're having a hard time getting up there, but a nice double jump and a wall climb should get you up there just fine. Now, as long as you stay over in this corner over here, you should stay out of sight from those troopers who are making their way into the main courtyard. In fact, there you go. You get a nice little peek as they go ahead and take off in through the next hallway there, and then the doorway closed. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right, so coast is clear. As we progress back and follow the storyline, it actually cues a cutscene here. Now, normally in free play, I do remove all non-essential gameplay and cutscenes. This seemed sort of essential, though, because of a couple things. One, I want to point out, if you struggle to get that Minikit in the window, but for whatever reason, this sequence queues up and displays itself, you can actually go back. Now, it's also a good point of reference to know that you are safe in this area, so if you needed to go grind some studs or whatever the case may be, this area should be safe to frolic around on. Now, I'm just going to follow our buddy here up to the top. What's her name? Zori. And she's going to put a fuse in the socket there. Meanwhile, I'm going to smash a couple of these barriers and rebuild them just to get my studdage up a wee bit more. Now, as you walk through the door, I do want to just kind of remind you, I recommend that you have Vader out. Now, you know, any of the dark side of the Force characters will likely work, but Vader for sure does. So feel free to try some of the other bad Force characters, you know, some of the other Siths. But, you know, just know that in this particular sequence, we know for sure that Vader does work. All right, so here we are. Challenge 2, new orders. We have to peacefully clear the main courtyard without raising the alarm. Again, using a villain character such as Vader should give you a little bit of leeway if you get spotted. So, in this particular run, I don't get spotted, but in my scouting run and in a failed attempt, then we won't talk about that, but in both of those, I get spotted by the third guy, or maybe it's the second guy, actually. So I take this guy out. We're going to use sneak attacks all the way through. So simply walk up behind the bad guy, and an icon should pop up for the sneak attack. Simply press that, and it should rapidly take him down, giving us access to, well, a dead baddie. This guy, he's pretty twitchy, so watch out. But normally, I get spotted by him. Like I said, I actually had to play this level a couple of times due to failed runs, and ultimately, I got spotted by that guy every time, but the final run where I get the recording on. So just know, though, if you do get spotted as Vader, it should not fail the challenge. Now, that may apply to the rest of the level as well. And you might be wondering, Brian, why didn't you put those ladder pieces together? Well, fun fact for you, one of my failed runs was because of a botched pressing of a button. I tried to put my saber away thinking that it was kind of threatening, and instead of putting the saber away, I used the Force and yeeted a canister at a bad guy who then saw me because I attacked him, and it failed the challenge. So you can get spotted, but you cannot hurt a bad guy unless it's a sneak attack or, like, you know, an insta-kill. Now, this one right here doesn't seem to give you the sneak attack prompt. I sort of push him away from the barrier, and it just doesn't work. He kind of makes his way back there. So I just got behind him and actually attacked him with the normal attack button. For me, it was square. And this one right here, I almost get caught by the spotlight. And in all fairness, it shouldn't have failed the challenge, but I didn't want to risk it at this point. Having played a scouting run and failing once or twice, one of the runs I actually failed too because I got all the way done and used the terminal to complete this challenge, and I didn't take out the spotlight, which I'm about to do right now. So make sure you take out this spotlight for challenge right in the eye, which happens to be the first challenge we complete, but it's actually the final challenge on the in-game menu. So just to be clear, it should be noted that you take out the spotlight before completing the New Orders challenge. Now, the reason for that is it seems like the spotlight does not get reactivated once all of the bad guys have been cleared out and there's nothing left to protect. So if you take out everybody, including these guys up top, you use the terminal in the corner, which seems to be a necessity, because I got all these guys done in 2 runs, and it didn't count. And both times, the second I use that terminal, it activates it and gives me credit for the challenge. So just be aware of that. So now we've officially taken out all of the bad guys that need to be irradiated. We just have to use that computer to go ahead and finish off this challenge. Now make sure before you use this, if you haven't already popped that spotlight in the eye, do it. Do it now. Otherwise, you're going to have to replay this level just to get that one challenge. So hopefully I explained that good enough. Hopefully you guys got it all done. Hopefully you can match the pattern just like I did. And Booyakashow! Challenge number 2 complete. So we got new orders and we got right in the eye. Now we just need to finish the level without being spotted by the last 2 guys fleeing the area right in front of us there. They actually have disappeared off screen. They left through the same door that they came in. But as long as you don't get spotted by them, you should be good to go for the rest of this level. Now we do have 2 more mini kits to swoop up. This one's going to require a silver brick breaker. I got a little button happy there and pulled out the wrong guy. But go ahead and drop a thermal detonator on the silver bricks. It should blast open the door and give us access to that 4th mini kit. Woo to the who! Now the last one, pretty simple stuff, but before you make your way out of here, it's important to note that we personally are still a little short of that true Jedi status. You need 90k and we are so close. We got less than 4,000 studs left, and of course with the 2 times multiplier, that really means we only need to round up about 2,000. And those will come pretty quick with those golds. The silvers don't add up as fast, but definitely the golds help us out. And booyakashow. So take out a couple of barriers or whatever you need to do. Get that done and then we're going to make our way out, but not quite. We're going to stop and pull out a character with the grapple ability. Now, there is a box there that you could use the force on. I'm not sure if it gets you high enough to get up here. You might even be able to grapple right to this pole that I'm on now. But up on the rooftops, hiding behind it, is a mini kit, which should be the 5th and final one. Now, assuming you've got everything else done, all 3 challenges, the True Jedi, and all 5 mini-kits, you can go ahead and bounce out through this portal, which will take us to a cutscene that has been removed. And for us, we're going to land on Hoth for one of the final times. In fact, we only have 2 more. Well, that might not be true. We might come back for a free roam, because I've already stated this will not likely be our first free roam area. It might be. Tyler has a specific order for me that he suggests that I follow due to some levels or missions that unlock after others are completed. So I'm going to try to follow that as best as possible to make your journey as easy as possible. But yeah, Hoth is probably not going to be the first one. But we got that True Jedi status. We got all 3 of those challenges done in one run. So I was a little worried that wasn't going to be a thing, but it was. Woot! All right, we also got all 5 of those mini kits. Now, I do believe it told us what it was that we built up, but ooh, it's the TIE Dagger. Pretty sweet deal. Micro edition. And of course, no characters unlocked yet. Well, not in this run. We already did those. We did those way back in the story. So woo to the who. Cody is pretty excited, and hopefully you are too. Hey, big time shout out to Tyler P for putting the guide together. It's been phenomenal. Hopefully you guys will remember that next time you see him in one of our live streams or whatever, and make sure you shower him with some love. As for me, though, guys, that's going to do it for now. As always, until next time. See ya.